Good morning, kids, and today we're checking out a bit of an older video from Josh Scorcher of the top 10 annoying bosses. Let's hop in and see what happened previously on Fiery Joker.
Annoying bosses you can usually complete the first time around, but not after pulling out all your hair and throwing the controller at the TV.
That was 13 years ago? Good times. But I'd say it's
I'm sorry, did you say 13 years ago? Oh, shit.
due for an update. So, first things first. An annoying boss is not the same as a boss being unfair, though the two often overlap. So, how can a boss be annoying? Let us list the many ways. 1. It takes way too long to beat that it stops being fun due to overinflated HP/defenses, hard to hit weak spots, short attack windows with too much filler in between, or unfair miss rates. Again, genre is important here. An RPG boss that takes 10 minutes? That's expected. A hack and slash boss where a single phase takes a half hour?
Red flag.
2. It inflicts painful status effects like sleep, poison, locking some of your abilities, or messing with the interface that causes you to make embarrassing mistakes. 3. Insufferable or repetitive dialogue, aka you just want to wring their little necks and say, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. 4. Gameplay not functioning as intended, or a case of forced minigames.
Time for egg delivery.
What?
Can you deliver 60 eggs?
I don't want to.
Too bad.
What
It's
is it?
mandatory.
5. Mechanics that halt or set back your progress, such as regeneration or diversions, like flunkies that get in your way. 6. Unintuitive or random attack patterns, or it's just being a bloody coward that's often out of attack range due to running or teleporting away. 7. Overly long attack animations you're forced to sit through, unskippable cutscenes in the middle of the fight, or, in worst cases, having to repeat a boss fight multiple times. These ain't no candidates for recurring bosses, let me tell you. 8. Difficulty is less of a factor. If a strategy exists to make the boss less of a pain to get through and is easy to figure out, that'll knock it lower. Basically, we're giving more points to hard bosses that are difficult to actually lose to.
Wait, difficult to lose to? Okay, now this is getting interesting. The only bosses that are almost impossible to lose to. Now that is a video. Let's go. Oh yeah, the corn boss.
Okay, so remember when I mentioned overexposure in my rules for this list? And remember that one boss you 100% thought of when I said the words having to repeat a boss fight multiple times? And remember that I don't like Okami? Of course you remember. I mentioned it more times than you have to fight that stupid serpent! Yeah, there are some bosses in Okami that I will admit are decent, like Lechku and Nechku, as well as Yami. But come on, why do we have to fight Orochi 3 times? How do you defend this? This fight had a lot of build-up between the legend of Orochi giving Kusanada a ride and seeing Susanoo come into his own. But the actual fight takes freaking forever. First, you need to stun him to get the sake pools to be released, and then you need to get all 8 heads drunk twice so you can hit the bell on its back. Once the bell is destroyed, then you can actually damage him. At this point, each of Orochi's heads will use a different element, and you can counter each element using brush techniques or your weapons. But if you want to damage, you'll still need to get the heads drunk so they'll actually take the damage. Once you get his HP to 0, then you need to do a brush technique series of quick time events to destroy each head. And pray that the game registers it correctly. Yeah, an average fight against the serpent takes around 15 to 20 minutes to beat. And you have to fight him 3 times. And I will die on the hill.
So that's 45 minutes to an hour for this one boss. But then again, that is over 3 fights. 3 sessions, there we go.
Brush techniques don't always work for me. When they use the phrase serpent eating its own tail, I don't think they meant an infinite regression of fighting the same boss over and over. Now, is Orochi as bad as I claimed over the years? Well, yeah, kinda. But I can admit there are more annoying bosses than it, despite how it personally wounded me. Yeah, still don't like Okami. Good luck changing my mind on that.
Flashback.
I can respect you.
Raymond asks, no, I will not replay Okami.
Not even if we made it a sub goal?
You
How many?
200k subs?
End of flashback.
Now I'm a little motivated.
Well, from the 8-head snake, we move to the
One of my
9th
writers
spot.
said he had no trouble with this boss.
Well, good for you!
Imagine this, if you will. You're climbing the Tower of Hera, the third dungeon on your adventure. It's a long, tedious climb, and when you reach the top, you find a platform with a little hole in it, and
Oh, no.
Oh, it's disgusting. What is that? Is that rancid? Is that nightmare? Is that true nightmare?
meet Moldorm. This enormous worm is a recurring phase throughout the Zelda series, but two boss fights in particular. Link to the Past and Link Between Worlds. They're essentially the same. Same arena,
yeah,
same
exactly.
dungeon placement, same annoying hindrance. But you may be wondering, what's so annoying about this big old derpy worm? I mean, at first glance,
keep
Moldorm
knocking
isn't
you
exactly
off.
a challenge. It just crawls and bobs around the platform like it's auditioning for Snake. All you have to do is just hit the little red ball at the end of its tail enough times and boom, done. But the real problem is Moldorm itself. It attacks by battering you, and while it doesn't cause that much damage, it knocks you back hard. Oh, remember
yeah.
that hole in the floor? Yeah, if you're super unlucky, you'll end up plummeting right through it to the next floor down. Oh, and if you're double unlucky, down an extra floor you go. So you gotta climb all the way back up the tower, recollecting hearts, and all the damage you did to the stupid worm is reset. So now you gotta
Yeah,
get you
that's
that all
annoying.
over again. Really watch your footing so you don't end up tumbling down again. Oh, and when Moldorm reaches its last hit point, it starts moving stupidly fast and erratic and increases the chance of shoving you down the hole and eating up your progress. Again!
Jeez.
There's a reason why speedrunners have nicknamed this brute Trolldorm. But, admittingly,
Okay, that's a little
I
funny.
put it this low because there are honestly way more frustrating battles to be fought. This still doesn't make up for the headaches you'll get if you get caught up in this loop.
This will go on forever if you let it.
Oh boy. Well, move on to number
The
8.
standard Kirby boss is not often complicated. You have a big target, you either shoot their attacks back at them, or wail into them with your abilities. Regardless of how you approach the fight, it's always fun to fight these bosses, because
Oh,
you always
sounds
have a
fit.
chance to attack them at any point. Makes them fun to speedrun through. So when bosses like Pyribbit and Metal General come in and step all over that formula, it gets really annoying.
Because
Pyribbit
they
is
jump
arguably
away
the worst of
to
the
the
two, since
background.
Metal General
I have to go now. My planet needs me.
It's still a very creative boss. It also serves as a nice throwback to that scrapped GameCube Kirby game. This stupid
Damn, I bet
lava
that would've
frog,
been fun.
other than maybe a cute design, doesn't offer much to like. The issue with Pyribbit came down to one thing. He keeps jumping to the background. He only comes
Yep.
to the playing field for 3 seconds at most, and that's about how long you have to attack him before he jumps right back to the background for 5 to 10 times as long. Even his
Oh.
attacks drag the fight way longer than it needs to be. Sticks his tongue out to chew you, shoots giant flamethrowers that force you to stay afloat, and his special attack has you play a long game of The Wall before he jumps back down to play chicken with you again. To add
And then
insult to
jumps away.
injury,
Yeah, look
the
at that.
DX version does a lot more of these annoying attacks early on. Now, remember when I said that Kirby bosses are fun to speedrun? Yeah, one of the reasons why that's important is because it helps you get through the arena fairly quickly so you can focus on the harder fights.
Ah, the arena.
Pyribbit makes Triple Deluxe's arena a chore. If you happen to struggle against the later bosses, you're going to find yourself frog singing this oversized amphibian more times than anyone would have liked. Oh yeah, would you believe that this boss comes back in Team Kirby Clash, and one of the bonus challenges is to beat him in less than 30 seconds?
40 seconds, but still.
I think House
That's never
secretly wants us
happening.
to suffer.
Well, we move on to number 7.
It's been a while since we talked about Metroid, and despite that, you
Never played
probably
it.
weren't expecting to see it on a list like this. Or,
I mean, it's a
so
fun
last
game
one, maybe
series.
you were.
I just
Between the
never played
Boost
it.
Guardian and other M's fun, Metroid's lows seem to be more prominent than its highs recently. Makes the way for Prime 4 easier, I think. On that topic, let's talk Prime 3. Playing through Prime 3, you might find yourself facing a large golem that looks to be sleeping peacefully, but we know better. Move
Yeah,
forward,
no.
it will wake up and give itself 4
Bing.
pretty obvious weak points that you need to shoot and destroy. Oh, if it was only that simple.
It's not, is it?
Imaginar here can protect his weak points with covers that come and go pretty quickly. In addition, it will be jumping around, creating shockwaves, and charging at you.
Mo, mo, mo. How do you like me? How do you like me? Mo, mo, mo. Why don't you like me? Nobody likes me.
This means
Oh,
you're
that was-
moving around a lot and
Okay.
won't be able to focus on the weak points. Once you destroy a weak point, you use Hyper Mode to fully destroy the core. Once you fully destroy one core, Majinar will gain a new shield on his feet that you need to destroy with a Morph Ball. Well, too bad the Morph Ball can't jump over the shockwave, so you need to be quick in, quick out, destroying the shields. Keep this up with the other 3 cores, one of them hidden on his back, and you finally put
This-
down the Golem. Yeah,
that
most
is-
Metroid bosses take around 2 minutes to beat. 5 is often the upper register. Majinar usually takes people around 10 because putting him down really takes some coordination, as you have to hit specific targets to even
God, that's
damage
annoying.
him. At least you have places to heal, so you won't kill yourself if you happen to miss your hyper mode shots. But between him moving a lot, always having you jumping, and the moving weak points, you're in for a ride. No wonder Samus throws up at the end of the fight. I would too if I moved the way she did.
Agreed. Oop, hold on, we'll be right back. And we're back, moving on to number 6.
When a game prides itself on having hard bosses, you know there's bound to be a stinker or two. For
Damn bit
Cuphead,
of chaos.
some might say Rumor Honey Bottoms, Grim Matchstick, or Phantom Express would be the best pick for this list.
Not from what I've heard. I haven't really heard anyone say these 3 are annoying. From what I've experienced personally, Grim Matchstick is very annoying. But the one I always heard that's most annoying is Dr. Carl's robot.
No. How about we take a look at the delicious last course to find something even more ridiculous? Yes, the DLC bosses are a lot of fun and very hard. But not every boss is made squeaky clean, and at least one will straight up make you say, that's just bad design. Glumstone the Giant is one of the first bosses you can fight in the DLC. These types of bosses can either be a good way to ease you into what's to come, or pull a Phoenix Magnian and hit you like a semi-truck right off the bat. Guess which one this is?
Better than just constantly yelling, saying it's all gonna burn or burn to the ground.
The Glumstone fight starts
what
off
was that?
fine. You attack the giant while jumping between platforms. Standard, right? Then you start to notice something. The gnomes. They protrude from the
Damn it.
ground, shoot fireballs at you, and they're kinda hard to pay attention to. But hey, it's not a real issue. Until the second phase. Here, Glumstone will start juggling a ball around while gnomes pop all over the arena. These gnomes are really small, and plenty of them can come out at once.
Ooh.
You're not only going to be busy predicting where the ball's gonna bounce, but you also have to watch out for where the gnomes will pop out from and drop. Wouldn't be so bad if something that didn't come from behind the foreground.
Oh yeah, that's out of nowhere.
The final phase isn't as bad if you have Chaser or Rebound equipped, but you do have to
What's
watch your
Rebound?
ground and parry the platforms whenever you have to. Really, the gnomes make up the
like
most
using Crash
irritating aspects of this fight, and they're certainly the bane to anyone who was gunning to perfect run this boss. You can fortunately shoot down most of them, but again, there's so much you can do before paying this much attention to avoid getting hit even once. Becomes a bit much.
Well, we moved from the mountainous
In
screw,
No
number
More
5.
Heroes 2, there are segments requiring you to play as other characters. On the one hand, there's Henry, who is every bit as fun to use as you'd expect. Then there's Shinobu. Let's get the biggest issue out of the way. This girl thinks it's a good idea to taunt after every single combo.
Why are we exposing
Oh
our
my
weak
God.
spot after every 4 laser bursts?
And no, you can't cancel out of it. To make matters worse, Shinobu has to fight the 2 most annoying bosses in the game. 1 Million Gunman was definitely a strong contender for this spot. Come on, it's new Destroy Man. Remember back in my top 10 dual bosses list when I mentioned
I
it's
do remember.
really hard to make a good one? These guys are the perfect example of how not to do it. The way the boss works is that the red half of Destroy Man is the melee one, while the blue half is the ranged one. In other words, you have to fight one of them while the other peppers you and snipes you from across the map. Good luck keeping
Making
track
it
of them
very
given how close the
difficult.
lock-on camera is. Oh, and once you finally kill the red one, you better be ready, because if you're not quick enough, they can revive each other. Now, the reason this fight
Ugh.
is merely annoying and not just blisteringly hard is that you can just cheese out the second half by hanging around the corpse. Not that it'll make the boss fight any quicker. And yes, there is one way to make this fight slightly less annoying.
All right,
You can
go ahead.
bypass
What
the
is
whole
it?
mandatory taunt thing by simply not doing the final hit in a combo. Is this an
Oh.
exploit? Argue in the
Yeah, a
comments.
little.
We actually don't know. Should you feel bad for using it in a fight like this?
Of course not.
No.
From the 205, we move to number 4.
Tales of the Tempest. The one game in the series Namco was right not to release in America. Is it a broken, unplayable mess? Nah. Is it the weakest one? Oh, no question. It's
Damn,
so
all right.
pathetically
That bad.
easy, it can be beaten in less than 10 hours, whereas others in the franchise average over double that in a casual playthrough. Though there is one bit in this game that halts
Holy
so
damn.
low, too. Yes, it's one of the worst bosses in the franchise. There are 3 things that King Orella does that land him on this list. 1, he can nuke the field with AoEs that he instantly casts. 2,
Oh, damn
his
it.
main non-magic attack, Chaotic Gate, can inflict any status ailment on you, including petrification.
Oh,
3,
come on.
he can teleport across the field. The closer he gets to death, the more he does it.
Oh, he teleports.
All this combined
Shit.
results in an incredibly infuriating scenario. You get bombarded by spells as you try to reach him, only for him to warp to the other side and start the whole process all over. This is made all the worse by Tempest having party member AI so bad, you might as well be soloing him. Mercifully, though, you can make this fight significantly less annoying
How?
since it's possible to both resist all elements and nullify status ailments with accessories. That and
Oh.
Tempest hands out elixirs like newspapers for Final Fantasy VI.
That's
Though he's
useful,
still
I
not
guess.
nearly as BS as the final boss from Shilia. At least he doesn't have an auto-revive. Oh gosh, I'm just imagining that fresh hell.
Well, from that fresh hell, we move to number 3.
Sometimes a boss is annoying through no fault of its own. Sometimes it's purely the game's jank or poorly implemented systems that cause them to be irritating. This is not one of those times. Oh, don't get me
yeah?
wrong. 358 Days Over 2 is a janky game with poorly implemented systems, but even outside that, Ruler of the Sky is a special level of annoying.
What is
Like this
that?
big buzzard over the skies of Neverland, and normally that wouldn't be a bad thing. We fought bosses while flying or swimming before in the franchise. Now, while their quality is a crapshoot, they average out to serviceable. Unfortunately, the Ruler of the Sky brings down the curve as it refuses to stay still, and
Oh.
the fatal flaw here is that its
It's a pirate bird holding a treasure chest in its mouth.
flight speed is ever
Okay.
so slightly faster than yours, even with glide upgrades. And if you don't have an upgraded glide, oh, may Kingdom Hearts help your poor wretched soul. So what this amounts to is you're stuck playing catch-up for the entire fight. I mean, it's
Oh,
slightly
God.
easier when it banks, but then problem number 2 rears its ugly head. You have to stay still to swing your Keyblade, meaning that you miss at least half your swings, and your openings are so small to begin with. Okay, if melee combat is a pain in the rear, then what about magic?
This whole thing is
Sorry,
a
Chief.
pain.
Rule of the Sky is immune to all magic, except fire, which it has a heavy resistance to. Ruler of the Sky takes 43% damage from fire magic, to be precise.
Oh my
That's
God.
right. Your best method of hurting this thing is reduced by more than half. You can't even ignite it and let that chip away at its HP bar. I hope you stocked up on every fire command you can get your hands on, because most people didn't.
Hold still, Lumpy, so I can hit ya.
As if all that were bad enough, the Ruler of the Sky
love
likes
that
to
show.
dive under the water, rendering it completely unable to be hit. More than one fire spell will be wasted because it decided to dive just as the spell was cast. Even worse, once its HP reaches a certain threshold,
God.
it can enter a berserk mode, where it flies even faster. In this state, it can even outrun your fire spells. So if you get unlucky
Oh
with
my
your casts,
God.
even more fizzled fire spells. Oh, let me remind you, magic is a limited resource in Days. A very limited one at that. Oh, and speaking of HP
You
thresholds,
died.
Days has a
That's
really
terrible.
annoying habit of giving bosses bloated HP bars, and Ruler is no exception. This means you have to deal with an overinflated HP bar on top of your very limited opportunities to actually deal damage. Even for the best players, this fight can take almost 9 minutes. There's no exploit or cheese to make this fight go faster. And again, for the best players, and for those who are unprepared, one of my writers was stuck on this boss for several hours as a kid because he didn't have
Oh
a
my
strong enough
God.
glide and didn't know the boss was immune to
Owls.
everything but fire. And so, yeah, you can guess where that went. Poor boss design in a game that has systems and jank that amplify the problems of that design does not a good time
Truly
make.
awful.
But it gives
Truly
Ruler of the
awful.
Sky a memorable and most deserved spot on this list.
God, from the rule of the sky to the rule of the second.
Look, as much as we
silver
love
medal.
Mega Man, a lot of their bosses aren't great. Many of them could have easily made the list. Yellow Devil, Boo Beam Trap, Botos, Redips, Bubbleman.exe, Phoenix Magnian, Flame frickin' Hyanard. You'd think
the one
that
that
last
says
one would
bump
be
to
the
the
best
ground.
candidate. But honestly, Gate from Mega Man X6 is somehow even worse. Now, yes, Hyanard is very annoying. But here's the thing. He's still a regular Maverick boss that you can subdue with a weakness weapon. Plus, it actually shuts him up for a bit.
Ah, it does
Gate's
shut him up.
voice
Good
lines
job.
may not be as grating, but he exceeds Hyanard in every other way.
できるできるぞレプリロイドだけの理想の世界僕が全てを支配する素晴らしい世界が
To start with, Gate is responsible for the Nightmare Phenomenon, one of the most annoying mechanics in any Mega Man game. So that already gives us
hell
a
is
great
that?
impression of what to like about this at all. Even getting to him requires you to play through an absolutely terrible stage, followed up with a rematch against Hymax, aka the only other boss here worse than Gate himself. And then you actually fight him. Okay, you know a lot of the Ganon fights from Zelda? Remember how fun it is to like play Magic Tennis with them?
It's all tennis.
Do you have the slightest idea how little that narrows it down?
Yeah,
I
this
mean-
fight will make you never want to do that again. Gate is invulnerable to all your attacks, so the only way you can hurt him is by destroying his projectiles and firing them back at him. The problem is that sometimes he's not properly aligned for the projectiles to fly back at him, and not to
Oh,
mention,
God.
they still spread toward you. And when you do damage him, oh my gosh, look at that! Look at how little damage he takes!
What a
Oh.
pittance.
And if that's not dumb
Oh,
enough,
God,
Gate spends most of the fight
heaven.
just hovering around and doing nothing. Sometimes trying to bump you into the pit. Once his health is low enough, he'll even start destroying the platforms to increase the likelihood of pushing you off. So, by not being able to attack him most of the time, the attack itself not even being that effective, and dragging you to instant death being one of his main attacks. And congratulations, you have a boss that takes obnoxiously long to beat with a high margin for error. Just try.
How do you
Just
defeat this thing?
try to beat this boss without taking damage or spending a sub-tank. Say what you will about other bosses here, but they didn't put you anywhere near this much RNG. Now you might be
Yeah,
asking,
no.
would he be less
Thankfully.
annoying to fight as Zero? Yes and no. Sure, Zero
Oh,
can break his
a yes
projectile
and-
without getting
okay.
hit back as easily, but he still has to get close to Gate, which risks him getting hit even more. Even then, you have to deal with him stalling, and if you already approached the stage's X, it's a long way to switch to Zero and backtrack. So yeah, pick your poison. Gate is a combination of
God.
so many terrible designs coming together to make a very unpleasant fight. Annoying villain, annoying build-up, annoying fight, and he dies like a hiding behind Sigma as a cherry on top. Is he the
course he
worst
does.
boss in the game?
Behind Sigma.
No. Hymax takes that by a long shot. But in terms of how much the whole package is just built to peeve players, Gate is in the running for that golden raspberry.
Oh, yeah, he can take the silver medal. Now on to honorable mention.
Raikou and Entei from Pokemon Gen 2. Oh, chasing them isn't so bad, just use Mean Look. Oh, they have Roar. Sand belching
Damn it.
Mear Slug. I can check comments on my phone while waiting for this
Okay,
boss.
now hold on. I can actually agree with him because I fought this thing personally and it was a little annoying. I still got it in like maybe 2 cycles.
To show his weak spot. Flame Hyanard, Mega Man X7. Call me crazy, but I think he wants to set us on fire. It's very subtle. Night, Sonic Frontiers. Take
What
away
the-
that godlike song, and you start to notice how BS that Buzzsaw surfing segment is. General Alma, Star Ocean 5.
What the
3
heck
forms.
is that?
The third one takes well over 10 minutes. Master G, Borderlands 2. Walk into the acid. I mean, friendliness puddles. Yzmat, Final Fantasy 12. Even excluding the updates.
Oh my god, even I know about that. Yeah, that thing. This thing actually had its own kind of reversal spell to where if you were trying to cast heal on a teammate, it could reverse it and force heal itself back to full health. And if I remember correctly, this thing has over 99 billion HP. Yeah, I think. I'm not exactly sure of that.
Being able to save in the middle of the fight makes it less annoying than usual. Less.
Now we move on to the gold medal of annoyance.
Once again, I'd like to sing the praises of Insomniac's Spider-Man. It basically did for the wall crawler what the Arkham series did for Batman. For the most part. But as is usual
that was
with
cool.
every smash hit, there's gotta be that one thing that slightly holds it back from being a masterpiece. Or two things. Me, personally, and I'm the only one who thinks this, I could do without the
What is
MJ stealth missions. They're
Oh, well, yeah, of
annoying
course,
and
completely.
frustrating, but they feel quaint compared to the sheer aggravation of
Hey, you know what I'm in the mood for?
Who the heck is that?
Everyone, meet Screwball. She's one of the newer members of Spidey's Rogues Gallery, and to sum up, she's a social media villain designed by a bunch of boomers. She's a stereotypical internet personality who commits crimes on her live streams, is crazy athletic, and is crazy obsessed with getting attention. And to our delight, she's one of these side missions in the first game's DLC. Her side
Oh,
missions are pretty
God.
much the same as Taskmaster's, except while Taskmaster is calculating and intimidating, Screwball is just loud and obnoxious. Her voice is
God.
irritatingly shrill, she barely ever stops talking, and she has these stupid photobomb sessions. They're not mandatory, but they give you extra points. So she's basically preying on you being a completionist too. Oh, and she doxes anyone who calls her out on stream. Wow, real classy. Oh,
Gotta be
but
doxed.
that's not the worst part.
Nope.
That honor goes to her boss fight.
I'll make you good!
You finally
Boss fight is
locate her,
heavy.
and of course,
Heavy.
she's throwing a
Whoa.
big ol' shindig to celebrate all her new subs. The second you show up, she makes a run for it, and you gotta chase her through the city and catch her. She's stupidly fast, and before you take her out, you gotta take out her drones before you can zip to her. This wouldn't sound too hard, except if you're not an ace at shooting, this is gonna drag on.
Oh, God,
and of
I'd be
course,
in
she's gotta
pain.
add more of those stupid photobomb moments. And this time, they're mandatory. You have to take out the bomb she sets before they explode,
Damn it.
or you automatically lose. Okay, that's fine. Just gotta make a small detour, and she rocketed ahead. Oh, and be careful. If you get too far behind her, you lose and have to start the chase all over again.
Are you fucking kidding me?
God.
Yeah, as great as this web-slinging gameplay
Delete,
is,
huh?
it ain't 100% perfect. But hey, it's easy enough to keep that balance of maintaining distance and making sure you hit every photobomb. Though, actually catching her often feels impossible due to the game inflating her speed to stay just out of reach until the game arbitrarily decides you've suffered long enough. Appreciate that stellar game design. Oh, you didn't win Game of the Year? And all the while, she just keeps talking!
Look at that spike in concurrent viewers! We gotta keep this thing going!
Shut up!
Please, shut up.
What I've been doing is giving the world the greatest show they've ever seen!
Shut up!
You're just jealous that I am
Yo,
more
Dwayne.
than you now! Ha! Kate, shut up!
One of my
I have
writers
no idea
admitted
who
they
that
got
is, but I
so
agree.
fed up with Screwball that they had to step away from the game for their own mental health. Honestly, I can't say I blame them, because between the crying and just listening to her, it's gonna get on your nerves pretty fast. It's sad because Spider-Man's a great game, but
Ugh.
dealing with screw
I would personally have to probably complete her missions first, just so she never appears again and I can avoid her.
ball is just, ugh. You want to skip her chase because it's excruciating, but on the other hand, you want to take her down so badly, you gotta keep going until you make yourself bald. If they absolutely had to
that's
include her,
enough of this,
and apparently they did, cutting down half the chase would have been a lifesaver, or at the very least make her say fewer things. Definitely lose the mandatory photo bombs. I
Agreed.
give major props to her voice actress, but I think she may have oversold it. And I'm happy to say this is the only game in the series we're forced to deal with her so far. I'm Josh Scorcher, and just remember, not all live streamers are reckless teens who do stupid stuff. Sometimes they're reckless adults who do stupid stuff too.
Damn. Well, alright everyone, that's going to be the end of today's video. I hope you all enjoyed this. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Link to the original will be in the description below, and I'll see all you folks next time when we flick on. Peace out.